Sony Pictures Animation Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was a big hit in 2018, going into 2019, and well, it also became the first Sony Pictures Animation flick to win an Academy Award. And I just saw the brand new sequel, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, now playing in theaters. But is this sequel anywhere as good as its predecessor? Or is this one time the web slinger gets lost in an alternate dimension or something like that? Watch this spoiler-free review and find out. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. Enough said. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers and true believers out there. Welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Dual, better known to you as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a spoiler-free review of the just now released computer animated superhero flick Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, released by Columbia in association with Marvel, along with Sony Pictures Animation. Now, this is the sequel to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It is set in a shared multiverse of alternate universes called the Spider-Verse. The film is directed by Joaquim Dos Santos, Kemp Powers, and Justin K. Thompson in their feature directorial debuts from a screenplay ran by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. Both are also co-producers, and David Callahan. It features the voices of Shameik Moore, Hailee Steinfeld, Brian Tyree Henry, Luna Lauren Velez, all reprising their roles from the first film. Plus, oh yeah, Jake Johnson's also here. Plus Jason Schwartzman, Issa Rae, Karan Soni, Daniel Kaluuya, and Oscar Isaac. This time around, Miles Morales goes on an adventure with Gwen Stacy, a now Spider-Woman, across the multiverse where he meets a new team of Spider people known as the Spider Society, led by Miguel O'Hara, aka Spider-Man 2099, but comes into conflict with them over handling a new threat. Now, before I get into my thoughts and what have you, if you haven't seen my re-review of Into the Spider-Verse, I advise you to click on that card there before you get into the details of this. Okay, that should do it. Now, I'll only give you a tiny bit of the story. It starts on Earth 65, 16 months after the destruction of the Alchemax Collider. Gwen Stacy is struggling to live up to the expectations of her policeman father, who does not know that she is Spider-Woman. Years prior, Gwen accidentally killed her best friend Peter Parker while he was mindlessly rampaging as the Lizard, and the police have been hunting her ever since. One night, she goes to the Guggenheim Museum after hearing reports of an intruder, only to run into a version of the Eagle that comes from a Renaissance-themed alternate universe. Spider people Miguel O'Hara and Jessica Drew arrive using portal-generating watches and help Gwen subdue the Vulture. Gwen is confronted on the scene by a fire and reveals her identity to him. Despite this revelation, he attempts to arrest her, but she escapes through a dimensional portal with the others after O'Hara begrudgingly grants her membership in the Spider Society. And in Brooklyn on Earth 1610, Miles Morales is adapting to being Spider-Man while missing Gwen, struggling to live up to his parents' expectations. And while he's heading to a parent-teacher evaluation, he encounters the Spot, a scientist whose body was infused with portals after the Collider explosion. And he blames Miles for his dilemma. So anyway, and once Spot brings Miles to Alchemax, he then accidentally transports himself into a void where he learns to travel to other universes that contain the Collider so he can use them to empower himself. And soon, Gwen travels to Earth 1610 and reconnects with Miles. But though she's secretly tracking the Spot through the alternate dimensions. And that's all the story I'm going to give to you. But I will tell you, the action builds up a little bit. It kind of starts just a little bit slow and what have you, but in some parts. But that's my only slight negative, not an actual negative. So no points will be deducted from this. So my thoughts on the film, I have to say I really enjoyed this film. This was just as good as its predecessor. It had the same great animation and the same great feel that its predecessor brought to us. Let's see. We also have Daniel Pemberton back on board doing the score for the film, just like its predecessor. So I thought that was really good too. Our voice acting cast, the most of the cast as I remember from the previous film, we have Shameik Moore once again playing Miles Morales. He was very good. Hailee Steinfeld once again plays Gwen Stacy, now Spider Woman. And I will tell you that I almost forgot to mention something about Hailee Steinfeld, by the way. She's recently been in. She recently appeared in some other flicks that came out, including the True Grit remake, The Edge of 17, the second and third installments of the Pitch Perfect trilogy, and Bumblebee, which actually came out the same year Into the Spider-Verse came out. And more recently, she played Kate Bishop in Disney Plus's Hawkeye series. Yes, I almost forgot that was her, but she once again did a great job. Brian Tyree Henry returns as Jefferson Morales, Miles' father. Luna Lauren Velez returns as Rio Morales, Miles' mother. And Jake Johnson once again voices Pierre B. Parker, who now has a daughter with Mary Jane named Mayday, which this is a slight little spoiler. If you've never actually read if you've never read the comics or seen or read stories, they named it May after Aunt May, and she'd go on to be Spider Girl in the comics. But enough said about that. Let's see. Jason Schwartzman, I haven't heard that name for some time. I remember him from the cult classic Rushmore. He voices Dr. Jonathan On, aka The Spot. Issa Rae plays the other Spider Woman, Jessica Drew, who happened to be the original Spider Woman in the comics. Next, we have Karan Soni playing Paviter Prabhakar, aka Spider Man India. Dal Kaluuya played Hobart Brown, or Hobie, aka Spider Punk. Really something. And Oscar Isaac played Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099. I gotta say, he was really, really something. And I must warn you though, he's a much more serious Spider-Man than you can ever imagine. Mm-hmm. You'll even see some other speaking voices, various other Spider people. Now you'll hear archival audio recordings of Nicolas Cage and John Mulaney as Spider-Man Noir and Spider-Ham in the film. But the only one from the previous film you do get to hear is Kimiko Glenn as Penny Parker. We have Aunt May, Quippy Spider-Man, voiced by Elizabeth Perkins. I haven't heard that name for some time. Let's see. Josh Keane, once again, well, maybe not once again, but let's see. No, wait, yeah. Well, once again, voices Peter Parker and Spider-Man from the short-lived The Spectacular Spider-Man that aired on the CW network in 2008. And there's lots of other. And another fun thing is there's Mike Rianda, or Ryan, I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name, voicing Ezekiel Sims, aka a Spider therapist, who had recently directed and starred in the Lord and Miller produced film The Mitchells versus the Machines, which was also from Sony Pictures Animation. So anyway, oh boy, there were so many others and what have you. Also, if you watch closely, you'll see some archival footage of some of the others from various Spider-Man movies and even cartoons and what have you. And let me tell you something, that was really something as well. So far, since its release, the film currently sits at 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. Just a couple of points down from its predecessor, but nevertheless, still good. Just as visually dazzling and action-packed as its predecessor, this film thrills from start to cliffhanger conclusion. Yes, this film ends in a cliffhanger, just like Fast X did not so long ago. However, this was well factual a little bit better, but just a wee bit of a slight downside. But again, not going to depth points from there. I knew this was going to conclude in on a cliffhanger because they originally wanted to make this a two-parter. But however, instead they've changed it, and we have to wait until next March for the conclusion to this in Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. But overall, I think Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was just so incredible and so awesome. And also at a runtime of 140 minutes, almost 2.5 hours, it makes it the longest animated film ever to be produced by an animation studio, which let me tell you something. That's actually incredible. Definitely. Yeah, the film Consuming Spirits, which came out in 2012, but that's one I'm not too familiar with, ends up being the first film to run for a long time, anime film to be running for a long time. But anyway, I still think it's really something. There's also to be a female focused spin off film to be in development as well. So we'll see what happens with that. But overall, I think Spider Man to the Spider Verse was awesome. The characters are good, the voicing's great, the animation's great, the story's great, so is the music and score. I gotta give Sony Pictures Animation credit. And if this gets nominated for an Academy Award like its predecessor, I wish him the best of luck because it won't be that easy. Because if they nominate Disney and Pixar's Elemental, which that's still coming up later in the month, and their new anime feature Wish coming up later this holiday season, it won't be that easy. But we'll see what happens. Let's not jump to any conclusions or possibilities or I don't know what have you. But anyway, for my score, I'm going to give Spider Man Across the Spider Verse 5 stars, which means on a scale of 1 to 10, it gets a 10. So, what did you think of Spider Man Across the Spider Verse? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Join me next time when I bring to you my review of Transformers from 2007, which I'll be doing the series in order to promote the release of the new film Transformers Rise of the Beast opening next weekend. So I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, check out these other Spidey sequels or something like that. The two sequels in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. In the upper left-hand corner is my re-review of Spider-Man 2. The upper right-hand corner is my re-review of Spider-Man 3. Or if you'd like, go to the bottom left-hand corner and see my spoiler-free review of the recent Sony Pictures animation film I was talking about just a little while ago, The Mitchells versus the Machines from 2021. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying see ya.